Hello everybody and welcome back. We are going to be colouring in today's drawing, guys, and yeah, I've got my spider-sona completed and finished, and as you can see here, I've got my Copic marker brush pens. I've got my felt tips like I always use. They're double-sided and they're running out. I've got my Copic marker, like really cheap version of Copic markers pens. They're also running out. But yeah, I think the colours that are running out are like blues and stuff like that. I figured out a way of using all of my pens in different ways. I've got my favourite colours and favourite pens. I do have a few pencils, but I probably won't be using them. I don't think I'll need them today. Maybe for the background because it's just such a large area to colour in. But in future days, I will digitise this one as I have been in many others. But at this time, still don't have a CPU. Yeah, don't have a CPU at the moment yet, guys, that's strong enough to let me use Critter, which is where I normally do all my digitizing. So when I've got that, guys, all the pictures that I haven't done, instead of doing a load of drawings, because I've only got 1, 2, 3 pages left. No, 4 pages left. 5 pages left. No, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages left after this. So after that, after this book is finished, I'll then be able to start digitizing again, because I would have thought by another 2 months I'll have enough to buy a bloody CPU. They're only like 20 quid, 50 quid if you want to get them from the shop. But if you want to help me try and get that quicker, then definitely let me know over in the comment section. And I'd love a little bit of help, just, quid here, whatever. Or tell me where you can get a cheap one from over on eBay or something like that, guys. Leave some links, let me know. If you want to chat to me today, guys, we are live. We are live here on YouTube. My name is Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. Again, if you want to leave a comment, you can do. I'm going to leave a comic story in like I always do while I colour this in, as it doesn't really need explaining. I'm going to be colouring it in using all the pens that you've just seen. And it'll take me a while, but not too much. I'm going to put some shading in there. Not too much, because I've already put the shading in there, which we did yesterday in the inking video. I added a little bit more to it after finishing the stream, because what I did was when I rubbed out all of the construction lines that were here, I ended up losing a couple of lines, a couple of those lines that I wanted to keep. And they sort of disappeared. So, well, they didn't disappear. They just got a lot thinner, should we say. I wanted them thin, but I don't want them completely thin. But yeah, I added a few details in, added a bit to the book here. Added a lot of shading, a lot of shading yesterday, and just went over nearly everything over here, and basically coloured it in before colouring it in. But yeah, we're going to be using these pens, probably more than likely any of the others, just because they're really good and they do blend really well. And yeah, keep watching, guys. Keep listening. Hopefully, if you've got any Spidey stories that you want me to listen to while I am live, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you like it by leaving a like. Let's get going.
An attempt at making a more mature line of Marvel comics. And in Marvel Knights, you had a lot of your favorite superheroes. This wasn't quite as intense as Max, but it was a pretty cool line. Today, we're going to be covering the first part of the Spider-Man Marvel Knights storyline. This story is called Spider-Man Among Dead Men, and it's a very interesting take on the character and the entire lore of Spider-Man. If you're wondering where you are because you maybe stumbled in from seeing the Spider-Man movie or maybe YouTube searching our channel, this is the Comic Historian channel, and what we do here is we take a lot of the lore or comic books within your favorite video games and movies and pop culture elements, and we break them down into digestible by turning them into an audio drama. Something that you can enjoy on the road, or something you can just pop on while playing a video game, or something along those lines. Now, let's get into Spider-Man Among Dead Men. As the rain falls in the busy streets of New York, everyone hurries along to try and get to their jobs. It was just a normal day, until 2 diner workers go out to take the trash and they find Spider-Man lying lifeless with the garbage. The first man stares, stating, "Great. Now they're going to have to call the cops again for another psycho sleeping in the trash." The second man comes out, and as he listens, he asks if that guy's trying to say something under the mask. Spider-Man weakly tells the two of them to get back into the store. The first man asks, "What?" And then another voice from nowhere says, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man's trying to warn you about something. Just then the Green Goblin is down throwing pumpkin bombs, and Spider-Man jumps up, grabbing the men, throwing them away from the blasts. Green Goblin flies his glider into Spider-Man, telling him, "Take a deep breath, Parker!" As they go barreling through the busy streets. Spider-Man tries to fight back, thinking Green Goblin isn't doing this for money. That would be too obvious. What he did 4 hours ago was hold 18 people hostage, threatened to gas them unless his demands of Spider-Man stabbing himself in the stomach with a knife were met. Naturally, Spider-Man didn't comply, and here they are now. Spider-Man punches into Green Goblin as they tumble back to the ground, and as Spider-Man looks for something to hit the Green Goblin with, a pedestrian shouts, "The mailbox!" Spider-Man grabs the mailbox, bashing it over Green Goblin's head, and another person in the crowd says, "Ouch!" As Spider-Man weds Green Goblin up, he asks, "What? If I didn't knock him out, he would end up killing people." The man calls out to take it easy. He isn't judging. Just now that guy's going to have brain damage. Another pedestrian looks down at a handful of pumpkin bombs that fell out of the Green Goblin pouch. The Spider-Man shouts, "Stay away from those!" Before he can get over there, the bombs begin to go off, throwing the pedestrians across the street. He runs over asking, "What is the matter with you? Why would you get close to those?" But soon the city cheers turn to disgust, asking how could Spider-Man do the things that he had done. He let an innocent bystander get hurt, and he nearly killed someone with a mailbox. What kind of hero is Spider-Man? Just before the police arrive, Spider-Man sneaks away to head back to Aunt May's home, where she's packing, getting ready to move. Without his costume, Peter stumbles into the house as his wife MJ and Aunt May help clean him up. Peter Parker sits in his room telling May that he's going to miss this place. Ever since he's left, nothing's changed. May hugs him, telling him that it was a fresh start and they'll be closer together in the city. This is for the best. They both hug and across the street, a pair of eyes stare into the window. The next day, Peter receives a call from the city council that some of the kids vandalized his Uncle Ben's tombstone. He hurries down to the cemetery to see, stating that it's kind of strange that this tombstone would be targeted. It didn't have any special features or anything like that. The city worker tells him it was probably nothing personal, but as much as he hates to say it, these random occurrences are starting to become more and more frequent. Just then, Peter gets a call, and as he answers, he asks, "Aunt May?" The voice on the other end tells him, "Not even close, Spider-Man. Nice job finally taking out the Green Goblin. Funny, the news is stating that he's looking to charge Spider-Man with an aggravated assault, huh?" Peter says, I'm sorry, there must be some kind of a mistake." The voice tells him, "Please, let's be adults about this, Peter. Wasn't defiling your uncle's grave enough? Do we really have to do something truly awful?" Peter asks, "What do they want?" The voice tells him, "We just want you to realize how bad things can get when something as simple as your real name falls into the wrong hands." Peter then asks, What are you talking about?" And the voice says, "Care for a wheat snack, sweetie?" Peter hangs up the phone, rushing over to May's new apartment without even changing into his costume, almost not caring who sees him at this point. He does, however, make sure to not stay in one spot long enough for anyone to really get a look at his face. He swings around the building, jumping through the apartment window, calling out, "Aunt May! Aunt May!" But as he looks around, he sees the apartment has been ransacked and May is nowhere to be found. After sending MJ away in fear that she may be targeted next, Peter makes a call to one of the only people who know his real identity, Black Cat. As Black Cat deals with her issues, she really can't be of any help at the moment. She's no angel, but even Black Cats know that there are certain lines you don't cross. No trying to peek under the mask, and don't get people's families involved. Peter tells her that he really needs her help on this. He doesn't know where to start, and having a second pair of eyes would really help. So she sighs and tells him she's in Florida, dealing with a missing persons case. But she'll try and take the next flight back to New York. In the meantime, it might be a good idea to make a list of everyone who knows your secret identity. There's Eddie Brock, her, Aunt May, Mary Jane, and Peter then realizes that, oh my God, Osborn, over on Rikers Island, prisoned up with some of the most powerful supervillains. Peter puts on his costume and he asks Osborn what he's done with her. Osborn holds up his hand, telling security, "It would seem we have a breach. If you could send somebody to..." But Peter stops him, telling him, "The guard is on a bathroom break. Now, before this window gets kicked in, where the hell is she?" Osborn tells him, "You're going to have to be a little more specific, Parker." Peter shouts, asking, "What have you done with Aunt May?" Osborn looks up from his book, telling him, "Now, that's interesting. And you're assuming I'm the one behind it. Well, that would mean that not just Uncle Ben's blood is on your hands, but soon you're on to May's. Not to mention that dead blonde you used to dance with. Besides, how could I have done it? You've got me locked up. That is, unless I shared your little secret with a mutual acquaintance. Surely you didn't think that I would keep this all to myself, right? I just told a friend that if Spider-Man ever threw Green Goblin in jail, he would need someone kidnapped. It's nothing personal. Just keep in mind the grisly reputation that all of the little lunatics crawling around here have. Then again, I could also be lying, just take advantage of a good boy in a bad situation. Peter leaves, telling him, lately, he can't even tell if the mask is on or off with him anymore. Osborn takes off his glasses and he looks up into the camera, asking the security guard, "Enjoy your leak, Officer Jankowitz?" With no one else to turn to, Peter makes a desperate attempt to get a hold of the Avengers. As he knocks on the door, Jarvis tells him, "Sure, I'll get Captain America for you, but who's there? The amazing Spider-Man?" Peter shouts, "No, please don't make me do this the hard way. Just let me in so that I can explain what's going on." Jarvis tells him that he can have a good night. Hopefully your frat house boys find this to be funny when the police arrive to take you away. As the mansion guards show up, Peter kicks in the door to try and find any hero that he can. Suddenly there's a blue light as Quicksilver speeds through, knocking Peter through several walls. Before Quicksilver could punch Peter, though, Captain America shows up telling him, "Stand down. Let's hear what this gentleman has to say before things get out of hand." Cap helps Peter up, and Peter tells him, "This is going to sound crazy, mostly because none of you know my identity, but my aunt has been kidnapped. I need to see Fury." Cap asks, "Isn't this something that we can help you with? Nick's currently in a parallel reality." Peter says, "Well, since Fury already knows who I am, it makes things a little less complicated." Cap tells him, "Doesn't matter if we know who you are or not, and frankly, we really don't care to know. If you need help, we'll get some information to go off of." Peter then says it's easy for him to say, all the people he grew up with are already deceased. It's not like him going public will put his childhood sweetheart in danger. "You know what? Sorry. Bad idea. I'm stressed and I'm worried about my aunt. Sorry for wasting everyone's time." Cap tries to tell Peter, "Wait," but Peter doesn't respond and he leaves. Now, without the heroes to turn to, Peter makes one last-ditch effort to try and find Aunt May, and that means speaking with the owl. Peter easily knocks out the owl's man, and as the owl pours himself a glass of wine, he asks, "What does Spider-Man want?" Peter hands him a picture of Aunt May, stating that there's a kidnapped victim by the name of May Parker. She was taken from her apartment less than 24 hours ago, and he has suspicions that a costume was involved. Owl tells him that this has nothing to do with him, but Peter says that it should when someone is trying to take over Kingpin's empire. That would mean that Spider-Man would owe him. For a fat little man with his eyes on becoming New York's next mob boss, this should be worth a lot. Owl takes a sip of his wine and says, "Wait there while I make a few phone calls." Short while later, he returns. "Electro and the Vulture." Peter asks to be sure. The owl says, "My sources are impeccable." Peter quickly jumps out the window, stating thanks. But the owl tells him, "You are more than welcome." Elsewhere in the city, Vulture tells Electro that they shouldn't be doing this. They're supposed to be holed up in a hotel until the wheelman is ready to get them. Electro laughs, telling him, "It's going to be fine. We just needed to get out of that place and into a bar. I know just the place." The two enter a secret underground bar, and the bouncer yells to Electro, "It's good to see you again. How you been?" Electro says that he's been supercharged as ever. Now him and his friend are going to go look for a good time tonight. Got anyone special for the Vulture? Vulture whispers to Electro that if he's being honest, this kind of thing is very distasteful and exploitative. Electro tells him vultures are supposed to be exploitative. Just shut up and have some fun for once in your life. As Electro leaves his date, she begins changing shapes into the other female superheroes, asking what he's in the mood for tonight. Sue Richards, Scarlet Witch, maybe Marina. Electro opens up the door, stating, "Actually, there's something I was interested in." But as the door swings open, Electro sees the room covered in webs, and Peter telling him, "I'm sorry to spoil your party." Electro pushes the woman away, trying to shock Peter, but as Peter dodges, he punches Electro, asking, "Really? Do you think I'm that stupid?" He tackles Electro out of the room. Vulture and his date see this, and the woman shouts, "You have to do something!" Vulture grabs his suitcase, telling him, "It doesn't work like that. My costume is back in the hotel." As Vulture jumps out the window, Peter tells him, "You're not going anywhere!" And he shoots the webbing, hitting the suitcase. Electro shouts to Vulture to let go of the case, but as Vulture pulls back, the suitcase pops open with money raining down onto the streets. Electro sets off an explosion, shooting Peter out of the building, screaming, "That was all the money we had, you idiot!" Vulture grabs the empty suitcase, stating, "Well, it's gone. The 20 million is scattered across the neighborhood. What are we going to do?" Electro then tells him, "We're going to crucify that clown. No more fun and games. We're going to tear Spider-Man apart for this." Electro jumps out, chasing after Peter, but every time he gets close, Peter would punch him down. As the two land on a passing taxi, Electro sends an electrical shock through the car and into Peter. Peter manages to kick Electro back to stop him, but Electro blasted into the air asking, "What the hell? That actually hurts, you little runt! This time you got yourself in way over your head. This was just between bad guys. Spider-Man shouldn't have been involved." Just then, Electro begins to use his power to pick up small metal objects, and he begins to shoot them at Peter. All of the missed shots land into cars and other things, and Peter shouts for him, "Stop! You could hurt someone!" Electro yells, "Yeah? Well, you just cost me $20 million! I'm going to be taking it out on someone!" Seconds later, the car that Peter was standing on explodes, and Peter shouting, "Stop! Don't do this!" Electro walks up, lifting the nearby cars, asking, "Do you have any idea how pathetic you sound? When you're in prison for a long time, you find new ways to use your powers, just like..." And that's when all of the cars that Electro has lifted come crashing down onto Peter, exploding, setting everyone on fire. With no sign of Spider-Man, Electro begins to escape, but Peter barrels into him from behind, throwing the two into an abandoned building. Peter doesn't say anything. He just feels his blind rage, and he punches him over and over again. Electro stumbles back, telling him, "I'm gonna burn your face off!" And Peter points to the sign, telling him, "Gas and propane. Do you really think that's a good idea?" A few moments later, the entire top of the building explodes, with Peter shouting, asking, "Where's your hostage? Where is May Parker?" Electro asks, "What are you talking about?" But before Peter can answer, Electro begins to laugh. He tells Peter, "You must really be an idiot. You do know Kingpin used to be a movie producer, right? Now with Kingpin out of the way, Owl moved in to take over and hired us to try and get himself a decent game. The truth is, we've never even heard of this woman. Sounds like Owl just played you like a freaking violin." Electro shocks the water, electrocuting Peter. As he tries to recover, he ends up falling off the ledge. He tries to shoot the webbing to catch himself, but he doesn't reach it in time, falling straight into a police car. An ambulance rushes onto the scene to help those that have been hurt, and Peter is one of the ones that is taken away. The doctors lay him on a table, getting ready to operate, when one of the EMTs states that they need to keep the Spider-Man mask on. The doctor, preparing for surgery, asks, "What are you, 9? Hand me the scissors before this guy chokes to death because of the mask." The doctor begins to cut open the mask, tossing it into the trash, stating, "Okay, now we can get to work." As the operation finishes, the media catches wind that there are 17 casualties, one of which is Spider-Man himself. The doctors are working hard to keep everyone alive. Inside of the hospital, the director tells the doctor that they do not remove the masks of super people. Because of this, every half-baked Green Goblin wannabe is going to try to make a name for himself. It's at that moment that someone bursts through windows in Peter's room, and the nurse shouts to just get back. This man doesn't even know where he is. Vulture lands at the foot of Peter's bed, asking, "Have you seen the Discovery Channel? This is what vultures do!" Vulture then grabs the woman, snapping her neck, telling Peter, "It's time for us to get down to business. Before we do, I just want to take a peek under all those bandages to see who I've been fighting all these years." Peter reaches up for a pitcher of water, slamming it against the Vulture's head, knocking him back long enough to let security make their way in. Security opens fire, but Vulture quickly grabs Peter to use him as a shield, causing him to get shot twice. He then turns around, lifting Peter up, flying through the window, and he begins to fly up as high as he can in the sky. Vulture starts shouting, "Did you know what I was going to do with that money? I was going to give it to my damn grandson. My grandson has leukemia, and now he won't get the treatment. Now we're going to take off these stupid bandages and see exactly who you are." Vulture begins to pull the last bit of the bandages away, looking at Peter's face. And he tells him he can't believe it. All of his friends were put away. All of them were put away by a nobody. All these years getting beaten by a nobody. He releases Peter to let him fall, but as Peter starts to shoot webbing to catch himself, he realizes his web shooters are gone. That's when Black Cat swings by, grabbing him, throwing him up onto the ledge. Vulture rockets towards them, shouting, "No, no, no!" and he tackles straight into Black Cat. He picks her up, sending her through a building, but before falling, she throws her grappling hook, latching it onto Vulture's leg. She pulls back on the cord, swiping at Vulture's chest, drawing blood. Vulture shouts that she should know that this suit makes him more powerful. The Black Cat tells him, "Oh, she knows. Let's see how good he can fly without a navigation system." She pulls back on the Vulture's wings, guiding him headfirst into a billboard before jumping off at the last second. As the Vulture falls onto the roof, Black Cat lands on him, stating, "If you ever touch my ex again, I will kill you." Later, at the meatpacking district of Manhattan, Owl sips his tea, telling a tied-up Electro that it would be best if he didn't try to move. The doctor here has just injected him with a special kind of drug that neutralizes all those nasty little shocks. In fact, the only thing he's going to feel is pain. Now admit it. Admit what he did was wrong and accept punishment for it. Electra shouts, "It wasn't him, it was the vulture. Just let me go and we can both find the crooked old goat." Owl asks, "Like you were gonna find my $20 million? I don't think so. Besides, Black Cat already found the vulture and dropped him off earlier. She was going to search while in Florida, so it would stand to reason that she's not in the best of moods when she caught up with Vulture here." Electra asks, "What does he mean?" And Owl tells the doctor to remove the blanket. The sheet comes off and then Vulture gasps for air, his face and body covered in deep cuts and bruises. Electra shouts, "Oh God, Vulture! Jesus, God, no!" The doctor then holds up a scalpel to Electra's face, and Owl takes a sip of his tea. "To it too, Mr. Dillon, to it too." And that is Volume 1 of Marvel Knights Spider-Man. Pretty epic and crazy, huh? Don't worry, we're going to be bringing you more of this story very, very soon, right here at the Comic Historian channel. This is going to be our Spider-Man promotion video, basically pushing out the fact that Spider-Man rolling out. So we hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to check out our link down below for our limited edition Spider-Man t-shirt that we've released to come with the movie. And you can also give this video a subscription. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of Marvel Knights Spider-Man. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please hit that bell so you can turn on notifications and know exactly when new videos are coming out, so you'll be able to track the next edition of Spider-Man to the extreme. Welcome back to Spider-Man, the Marvel Knights edition. Today we're going to be doing Volume 2 of Spider-Man's Marvel
The
Knights.
playlist rolling in, guys, so I'm just listening as I go. What do you think of this? Let me know in the comment section.
Marvel
like
Knights
if you do.
Spider-Man takes place during a time period when he is basically married to Mary Jane and he's kind of living back with Aunt May. If you're wondering where you are because you stumbled in here because, you know, Spider-Man's kind of popular at the moment, well, this is the Comic Historian channel. We take the lore to your favorite pop culture elements, from comic books to video games to movies, and we discuss them and then break them down into audio dramas for you to enjoy, allowing you to keep up with your favorite storylines even in your busy life. Now, in our last video, Aunt May had been kidnapped. Spider-Man had no clue where to start looking. The only person that had come to mind was Norman Osborn. But the problem is that Norman has been locked up in a high-security prison with zero chance of getting out. And now there's a new but old player coming into the mix. Spider-Man's old nemesis, Venom. Everyone knows the people who wait in the airports, and they hold up signs for the people that they're waiting for. At JFK International, it's no different. Except there is one slight difference, because one man is holding up a sign for Venom. Eddie Brock walks through the crowd asking if it's supposed to be some kind of a joke. "Are you trying to upset him?" The man nervously says, "No, Mr. Brock, it's just that the employer said that your name is still a secret." Eddie sighs, telling him, "Shut up, and call whoever's funding this, telling him I need strawberries, champagne, and a sweet sprinkled with rose petals. No sense in making my last days on Earth any more unpleasant than they need to be, right?" Meanwhile, across town at Spider-Man's apartment, Mary Jane returns despite Spider-Man telling her not to come back, only to throw away a stack of final notice bills. As she looks at the Black Cat shots in the other room, Spider-Man just woke up screaming. She rushes over, and as Black Cat looks at the bruised and broken Spider-Man, Peter says, "What are you doing here?" Black Cat tells him that he was fighting with the Vulture and he may have dropped him out of the sky, but she made sure to get everything taken care of. Spider-Man shakes his head asking, "How long have I been out?" Mary Jane tells him it's been 2.5 days. He then shouts, asking, What about Aunt May? Have there been any messages from the kidnapper?" And Aunt May tells him, "No, nothing's happened since you've been unconscious." Black Cat says, "Actually, there's one thing," and hands over the morning's newspaper. Spider-Man reads the headline, "Spider-Man Unmasked." He sees a photo of him with his mask torn when he was brought to the hospital. Black Cat tells him it's okay. They didn't see his actual face, but J. Jonah Jameson is offering $5 million to anyone able to identify him. Black Cat then gets up stating, "I have to run out and meet with someone. He knows everything around this town, so if anything comes up, I'll make sure to let you know, Peter." Mary Jane waves, telling her to be careful, what Black Cat says to make sure that she looks after their friend there. If he gives her any crap about going on patrol, just call. After a bit, Spider-Man gets up to eat when Mary Jane sits with him and asks, so when is he going to start calling it quits? One of the first things he promised is if things got out of control, he would call the police and admit who he is. Going public would make things easier to find Aunt May. Spider-Man says they can't, not now at least. This is what happens when one psychopath knows who I am. Going public would invite the rest of the lunatics. Mary Jane grabs a folder, stating if that's the case, they need to start looking at someone who knows who he is, starting with Osborn. Spider-Man slips through the papers, telling her no. Norman was my first choice, but he's been in police custody since Aunt May has been taken. Besides, that just wouldn't add up. Norman's known my identity for years, and he's never pulled a stunt like this. This is the work of someone who just found out. Mary Jane asks about Venom. He is someone that we should look. And at that moment, the phone rings and Spider-Man answers. The woman on the line says that it's compact card credit. They're calling to understand why he's been late on his payments. Spider-Man asks, what is she talking about? The bank automatically pulls all their credit card bills. There's plenty of money in the account. The woman tells him that that's something he would have to talk to the bank about. So he hangs up shouting, believe me, I will. He looks back at Mary Jane and sees her crying, asking what's wrong. And she says, Peter, we have to have a serious talk. The two walk through the park and Mary Jane says that she didn't want to burden him with these things. She's supposed to take care of the little things, and now they're in this mess. Spider-Man shrugs, stating, we just have to sell a few original photos again. It's no big deal. They've been without money before. Everything's going to be fine. We've gotten through worse situations. She lays his head on his shoulder, telling him that he's already got so much on his plate, but he tells her, you married a superhero, remember? Things will be fine. Later that night, Spider-Man heads out on patrol, even though he's still recovering, but his spider sense goes off. He hurries over downtown to find Doc Ock rampaging through the city like an uncontrollable madman. He swings down to pull two people out of the way of a thrown car and then webs up Doc Ock's face. He then punches into Doc Ock, telling himself that this isn't something Otto Octavius would do. Mindless rampage doesn't fit. Maybe a drug thing? With one final punch, Spider-Man knocks Doc Ock across the street into a bus, and then he gets ready to snap a few pictures when he notices something. Doc Ock has several tranq darts shot into his back. Before he can even ask what's going on, the New York SWAT team surrounds him, telling him to stand back or they will open fire. All of the officers inch closer, and Spider-Man asks, are you out of your minds? I was the one who took the guy down. What the hell did you do? One of the officers tells him, we shot him full of tranquilizers when he broke loose from the convoy. Would have been fine without you. So Spider-Man asks, what the hell are you even doing taking Doc Ock away from the prison anyway? And the officer tells him, the good doctor had a few tests he had to get to, and that's the least of your issues right now. Once the officers are close enough, Spider-Man's spider sense begins to go off, and he says, it's about the reward, isn't it? One officer grabs him, telling him, we're tired of cleaning up your mess. Let's just say there's a little bonus money if we unmask you. Spider-Man puts the officer off, telling him, don't be stupid. And all of the officers pile on, trying to tear at his mask. Just before the officers can get his mask off, Spider-Man throws the group of officers into the air, and one of the officers shouts, asking, what are we waiting for? Take him down. All of the officers then open fire, with the captain running up screaming, what the hell are you doing? The officer tells him that Spider-Man is resisting arrest. We're going to need air support or we're going to lose this punk. The captain tells everyone to stand down. Do you think I don't read the newspapers? Get Dr. Octopus back to the truck and be glad I'm not filing a report on this. Later at the Daily Bugle, security drags a man out of J. Jonah Jameson's office wearing a Spider-Man costume, and the real Spider-Man asks the receptionist, does that happen often? She says, yeah, everyone's coming out of the woodworks claiming to be Spider-Man and cashing in on the money. That one looks more like Ant-Man than Spider-Man, though. Jonah then shouts, asking Peter, what do you want? Kids at your school taking lunch money again? Peter walks in, telling him, looks like someone finally found that nickel they were looking for. And what's with your crazy Spider-Man stuff? Isn't this the 11th time you pulled the old cash reward for Spider-Man's identity thing? Jonah says, who cares? Some anonymous billionaire donates $5 million to boost our circulation? Who am I to say no? What are you doing here anyway, Parker? Peter tells him, well, I took some photos of Doc Ock escaping and figured you'd want them. Jonah tells him, why would I want that amateur crap? Besides, how long was Doc Ock out for? 5 minutes? He didn't kill anyone. Just then, Jonah's son John walks in asking if he's ready to get some lunch. Hey, Peter, how's it going? Peter tells him, not bad. Just trying to squeeze a little cash out of your old man. Jonah grabs his coat, telling him, look, Parker, I know about how you and the wife got a few debt problems. I'll give you $500 for the photos. Peter asks, wait, how did you know about that? And Jonah calls back, ex-supermodel has her Macy's checks bounced by the bank. Tomorrow's front page, kiddo. But something doesn't sit right with Peter. Some billionaire donates $5 million to give him grief. A short while later, Spider-Man visits Norman with Norman's back turned to him. And Spider-Man tells him, we both know I'm dangling here. Stop trying to annoy me. Norman continues on his puzzle, telling him, annoying you is the only pleasure I get, Parker. What do you want? Spider-Man tells him, see if I can shed a little light on what happened to May. I've gone over everything and come up with nothing. Maybe I'm just too normal to see what this guy is up to. Maybe you can figure out why this guy hasn't gotten in touch in the last few days. Norman slams against the glass, telling Spider-Man, ask again. Ask why I should help after being locked up and endangering my life. Spider-Man stops and says, what do you mean endangering? This is a high-security cell. Your skin is practically bulletproof. Norman leans in. You should ask yourself this. What were they doing to Otto? Why are all of my offices being burglarized right now? With no other lead, Spider-Man heads to Xavier's Institute for Mutant Kind to speak with Rachel Summers to try and see if speaking with a telepath might help. The second they sit down, though, Rachel begins to see things. She begins to see the night of the attack, and it was violent. She had just moved into the apartment, and she changed the door, but it didn't matter. The man snapped the chain and pushed his way in, and she passed out. But she knew him. She knew who took her. But he's different now. He's not human anymore. Oh God, Aunt May was so scared. Spider-Man shouts, asking, Who did this? Was it Venom? Was it Eddie Brock? Rachel says that she can't see his face. And Spider-Man stands up yelling, think harder! She begins to cry, and Spider-Man asks, what is it? And Rachel tells him that she's not sure that he wants to hear this. But she thinks Aunt May is dead. Meanwhile, elsewhere, supervillains from across the city...
Hey guys, I'm going to use some pencils now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blend two colours together.
Tinkerer welcomes
using a little bit of pink.
That they have something that they've never seen before. He's here to offer up a costume like none other. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's auction is for Venom himself. Sandman shouts, that ain't Venom. And Tinkerer says, no, of course not. This gentleman is Eddie Brock, Venom's human host. Unfortunately for Eddie, he has cancer and is on a limited timeline. Eddie has had a crisis of faith and is ready to suffer the consequences for his illness. Mysterio then says, that doesn't sound very holy-like.
So yeah,
what is Eddie going to do with the money? Donate it to charity? And Eddie tells him...
Yeah, like I was saying, I'm using two colours. I'm going to give you a zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Let's move the camera. Also, I get to show you what I've actually done, because I know sometimes when the camera's up high you can't see, but you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, I've coloured in all of the main part of the picture now. Done the windows here that you can see. Got those in a nice little blue and a bit of grey. The building, same with that building over there. As you can see here, I've used a little bit of pink, but I'm not going to leave it as pink, same as I've done here. You can't. I'm not going to use change the pink. I'm going to leave that pink there, and I will use a little bit of orange on top of it to make a Caucasian coloured skin. You're going to use gently. You would have seen me do this quite a few times now, because I don't no ever colour set, no matter where you get it from, no matter if it's those kind or those kind. You do not get any skin tones in there whatsoever. You get an orange, which is okay, you know, but you can't mix it with anything most of the time. So I just use pencils most of the time for skin. But when it comes down to like digitizing, like I was saying earlier, I can just color pick from wherever it come from. But what I use is I add a little bit of orange on top of the pink. Okay, you get a nice like a peach color. You blend it nicely like that. You see? So you got pink here with a little bit of orange. You get a peach and close to a skin tone. Sometimes you need a little bit more orange just to really push it in there. It's a good idea to give it a finger, a little bit of a rub over the top of it. It takes away any excesses that you don't want, because there's a lot of pink there already. You want to get that orange in with that pink to give that color. You don't want to make it pop. You want a nice blended color. There we are. I could run over that with my pencil eraser as well. Pencil eraser. If I did feel like it was not the right color. I got a burp. Yeah, first cut. I got a burp. Yeah, so if you don't know, it's the same. What was I saying? I don't know. I was saying something. But yeah, colors, blend them, really good. Definitely worth doing. I think I'll leave my face a little bit pink, actually. Make it as if like I'm old and tired. I can't really jump out windows to catch my son from trying to play VR. So yeah, we've got all that in now. That's all the main character in. I've just got to add in a few bits to the background, and we're done. I don't know what to do with the color for the background. Oh, no. Yes, I do. Got some blue here. Haha. So if I start anywhere, really. Give me a second. I think I'll color that in orange up the top, though. And this orange here, because it keeps saying to me, use me, use me. You want to use me. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get some light back on.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. That piece of trash would only find a new host anyway. Might as well put some dirty money to good use. Venom then projects himself over Eddie, and Tinkerbird tells everyone, "It seems that we are ready. Let's start the bidding at $10 million for 2 weeks."
Oh,
Together, Pokemon can achieve great things.
and without me, even greater things.
Weeks. The city has now been silent. Spider-Man goes out on patrol and calls Black Cat asking if she's found anything. And Black Cat says that she did find out something interesting. The lead that she was tracking a few weeks ago turned out to be an auction. The Don Fortunato won said auction and paid quite a bit for it. Spider-Man asks what was the merchandise, and Black Cat tells him, "Look, you're not going to believe this, but it was for Venom." Apparently, Brock's gone all religious, and Fortunato broke the bank, stating that he just wanted to make something of his little nebbish son, Angelo, who's always following him around. Spider-Man says, "It's just one psycho becoming another psycho. It's all the same these days." Any word on Aunt May? Is she linked to any of this? Black Cat tells him that she's sorry, but it doesn't look like Venom had anything to do with the kidnapping. So Spider-Man sighs as he hangs up, swinging down to the local diner to use the men's room. When he finishes washing his hands, the waitress behind the counter shouts at him and points to the sign. "Restrooms are for paying customers only. Can't you read?" He asks if she's serious, and the waitress says, "Do I look like I've got a good sense of humor? Tonight's special is key lime pie and coffee for $2.99. Spider-Man looks at the woman's name tag and says, "No thanks, Ramona, just coffee's fine." So Spider-Man drinks his coffee. He asks, "Didn't this place used to be a lot busier? There's no one here." Ramona sighs, stating, "Yeah, but I can't move into day shifts because I have a special needs child, and it looks like we may be closing this shift altogether. I really can't pay for daycare. I'll just have to find some way to manage." So Spider-Man tells her, "Yeah, I'm a bit strapped for cash myself." And Ramona tells him not to worry about it. But the two of them have a mutual friend. Remember Adrian Toombs? Spider-Man asks, "Are you talking about the Vulture?" Ramona tells him, "Yeah." She knows the two of them aren't exactly drinking buddies, but it would seem like a coincidence worth mentioning. She dated his son a few years back. Adrian's the grandfather to her little boy that she was talking about. That's when it hits him. Her son is the child Vulture was talking about, the one who had leukemia that he was trying to get money for. He said that he would pay for the $500,000 operation with some nest egg he put away. But he hasn't been around for the past few weeks. No matter what, though, we know he isn't going to let us down. Spider-Man starts to feel bad. He ended all of that. He put Vulture away. Sirens go off in the distance, and he says that it sounds like that's his cue. How much do I owe? Ramona tells him to forget about it. Did he really think that she was going to charge a superhero for a cup of coffee? Go out there and fight the good fight, Spider-Man. So he heads out, and over at the Our Lady of Saints Church, Eddie meets with Don Fortunato and his son to hand over the symbiote. Don says that he's sorry it took so long to get the money together, and Eddie tells him, "No, it's fine. It's not like I could really go anywhere myself with it. The money's going to a good cause." Don tells him, "Yeah," though he's glad to be able to use Venom's muscle for the family's business and to this little runt his wife brought into the world. Eddie pulls Angelo aside and asks, "Are you sure about this? This is a pretty nasty beast to be carrying around." Angelo tells him, "I'm 5'9" and 110 pounds. The only girls that talk to me are the ones that my dad rents every birthday and Christmas. What am I throwing away here? Besides, Venom puts me up there with the likes of Magneto and Dr. Doom." Eddie takes off his jacket, telling him, "All right, just wanted to make sure." And Don asks, "Is it true that Venom knows Spider-Man's secret identity?" Eddie looks up at the cross, telling him, "Yeah. And if you ask nicely, Venom might just tell you." Back on the other side of town, Spider-Man decides to have a night to himself when Mary Jane says that their high school reunion is the same night. He walks through the halls, seeing his old friends. Just before he takes a group photo, his spider sense goes off. He pushes everyone away, and that's the moment that Venom bursts through the wall, tackling Spider-Man. As Spider-Man is thrown, he catches himself yelling, "Eddie needs to stop or he's going to hurt innocent people." And Angelo tells him, "Eddie doesn't live here anymore. You're talking to Angelo Fortunato, and I'm here to make a name for myself." One survivor of the break-in gets up asking Peter Parker, "Are you Spider-Man?" But before anyone can answer anything, Angelo grabs that man's head, crushing it. And Venom shouts, asking, "Where were we?" Spider-Man jumps off the wall, knocking Angelo through the wall while quickly putting on his costume, asking, "You want to do this? Let's do this." Venom leaps back, pulling Spider-Man through a wall, and as everyone sees, Mary Jane rushes over to tell everyone that they need to evacuate the building. Spider-Man attempts to web up Angelo, but Angelo catches it mid-air, telling him, "It's like shooting in a slow motion." He flings the web, flinging Spider-Man out of the building, following up by almost stomping on his head. Spider-Man fights back, telling him, "You must be a real disappointment. $100 million and you're still a freaking loser. Your dad must be real proud." As the two fight, they end up in the middle of the road, right in the way of a speeding fuel truck. Spider-Man quickly grabs the dog that ran towards them, and then lets the truck crash into Venom. But as he watches, Angelo starts to pick up another passing truck, and he throws it at him. Spider-Man jumps off the building, through the windshield, grabbing the man and flying out the back before hitting the wall. Venom leaps up into the air to escape, but Spider-Man chases him, shouting, "Just give it up! I can smell a king from a mile away! And Venom is not you!" Spider-Man jumps after him, and just before grabbing him, Angelo uses Venom's cloaking ability and vanishes. Spider-Man lands on a building, yelling, "The man you killed is never coming back! Do you really want to be remembered for killing a bystander?" Venom reappears behind him, telling him, "No, I want to be known as the man who killed Spider-Man!" Angelo pulls his arm back, punching Spider-Man into his back so hard that he punches through his spine and ribs. He then takes his arm back out, holding Spider-Man's heart, shouting, "I did it! I did what Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus can never do! I killed Spider-Man!" But in the shadows, the man with the camera quietly says, "This wasn't supposed to happen. He promised this wouldn't happen." Angelo looks over, asking, "And who the hell are you?" Spider-Man reappears, punching Angelo into a wall and then into a water container. Angelo tries to get back up, but Spider-Man punches him again and again until Angelo finally shouts, "I give up!" Spider-Man webs up a pile of bricks, swinging them around, knocking Angelo through the air. Venom himself then speaks up. "Angelo's weak. You're a disappointment. The problem with you is you don't have enough venom in you." Venom jumps off the ledge of the building with Angelo, separating himself, leaving Angelo to fall to the street. Spider-Man yells for him to relax his body, but Angelo doesn't hear him, and he lands face first into the pavement. But this isn't the only death tonight. Elsewhere, Eddie was found with his wrist opened up. He tried to be good. He tried to make up for all those horrible things he did, but now he might not make it through the night. This is why the hunt for Spider-Man must end. There's only one way to do it. The next morning, Peter heads to the Daily Bugle and tells Jonah that he has it. He has Spider-Man's identity. If he could, he'd like to tell him alone. Jonah asks, "What is this about? Why wouldn't you want to put that menace's face out for the public?" Peter hands over photos of Spider-Man, but it isn't Peter Parker. It's John Jameson, Jonah's son. Jonah sits down. "No, of course not. My own son. What about the prize money?" Peter tells him, "Oh no, I don't want any." But Jonah hands him a briefcase with $500,000, telling him, "This is all you get. The rest sits in a private offshore account. But before you ask for the full amount, the answer is no. Just go. This is a lot I have to think about." Peter leaves with the money, but he knows he doesn't deserve it. Or maybe he does. Maybe he deserves a little good luck for once. The money doesn't belong to him, and if he gives it back, Jonah will definitely know that something's up. So what is a superhero supposed to do with $500,000? Donate it to somebody who could actually use the money. Someone like Ramona. A few days after the attack at the school reunion, Spider-Man and Mary Jane visit the police station to give their statements about what happened. And just as the detective begins his questioning, Spider-Man's phone rings. The man on the phone says that was an interesting way to spend the money that he gave Jonah. But what about Eddie? It's a shame to lose a colleague like that. But he just didn't fit into the plans that they have for the new and improved Rogues Gallery. Spider-Man quietly tells the man that he's going to kill him for this. He's going to hunt him down for murdering his aunt. And the man laughs. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's a lot of people involved there. To tell you the truth, this is just the tip of the iceberg. What were the cops doing to Otto Octavius? Why is Osborn in such terrible danger? And why has dear old Aunt May been integral to all of these plans? We'll meet for lunch tomorrow, and the whole story will be laid out. Ciao for now, Peter. And that concludes part 2 of our Marvel Nights. An interesting turn for Venom, if you ask me. Angelo didn't last very long, and Venom definitely does come back after this, because this is an older storyline. So we definitely end up going to, I think it went to Mac Gargan, and then it goes to Flash Thompson, and then it goes back to Eddie with a little Lee Price in the middle there. Either way, it was a fun ride, but if you want to see what happens next, subscribe to our channel, turn that bell on so you get the notification, and don't forget to give this video a like, letting me know down below what your favorite Venom wielder was. Was it Angela?
So guys, leave a like if you do.
Or are you like me?
Any other videos
I'll see you guys next time.
you want to have Spidey or comic historian, let me know the theme and I will get that done for you.
Favorite pop culture icons, from video games to movies to comic books and TV shows, And we
There are many
break down
different themes out there at the moment that I've done for you.
Graphic novels,
So definitely go and check them out.
Video game or just a rundown of the movie, and we turn it into an audio drama, allowing you to keep up to date on your favorite elements while maintaining your busy life. Today we're going to be covering Marvel Knights, Spider-Man, Last Stand, Volume 3 in a series that we've been running. Both of the original videos are down below, but for a quick rundown, in our last video, Spider-Man was faced with a harsh reality that Aunt May could possibly be dead by the hands of her kidnapper. With no one else to turn to, Spider-Man made one last attempt to talk to Norman Osborn to see if there was anything that he was missing. But Norman made it clear he wasn't interested in any of this. Now, just when things seem to be getting to their worst, Spider-Man gets a phone call by the supposed kidnapper stating that he wants Aunt May to live, so they should meet for lunch tomorrow. As the sidewalks of New York fill with busy lunchgoers, Spider-Man pushes his way through the crowds when he notices a man seemingly out of place hiding his face. He stops and the man asks if he's surprised to see him. Spider-Man asks, "What?" The man goes on stating that it must be a shock to see him as the kidnapper, right? Truth be told, he was scared the voice would give him away on the phone. Spider-Man stares at him for a moment and asks, "Do we know each other?" The man then asks, "Are you joking? Am I some second stinger now? I have to tell you? You should know who I am! Scorpion! Mac Gargan!" Without even saying a word, Spider-Man lunges forward, slamming Scorpion into the window, stating, "I am this close to breaking your neck." Scorpion stops him, telling him, "Now those are some fancy moves. Why don't you just go on and show everyone who you are? But if you want to keep the old hag alive, you better get control of that little temper of yours." Spider shouts, "Prove she's alive!" So Scorpion asks, "Are you really in any place to make demands? Now put me down before I get taped off and walk away." Spider-Man loosens his grip, setting Scorpion down, and Scorpion tells him, "Good boy. Now let's get some lunch and discuss what you're going to do for me." As the two sit for lunch, Spider-Man asks, "How long have you known?" Scorpion asks, "Your secret identity? Coming up in a year this Christmas." Spider-Man then asks, "If you've known for that long, why did you keep it secret? And why give the Daily Bugle $5 million?" Scorpion laughs. "You really don't have a clue, huh? Who do you think hired me? This is all Norman's masterpiece, kid. The Green Goblin's revenge. You see, Norman had everything set up that if he was ever arrested or publicly exposed, this little game of yours would be cranked up to a notch or two." Spider-Man tells him, "It doesn't make any sense. If Norman was behind this, why was he so scared back at Rikers?" Scorpion tells him, "Because your aunt is just the tip of the iceberg. You ever wonder why you've always been fighting the same guys over and over again? May Parker is just an insurance policy. The real meat and potatoes of this is what's been going on in the background all of these years. Imagine it's 1945. You're one of the richest men on the planet. Girls, money, power, the American dream. And then these guys in masks show up, righting wrongs and throwing their superpowers around. After a while, they'll begin to snoop, and when they do, suddenly that American dream crumbles and they see what you're up to. So what do the people in the background do when they're faced with the people that can just walk through bullets? Easy. They create the super bad guy. Now, most of the villains back in the day were just ex-GIs on salaries. And these people, they were assigned to the heroes. It was in their contracts. There was only one or two organizations for each hero, and that's all you really need. Once you get the ball rolling, you just sit back and enjoy the fun. Take last month's auction. People were bleeding themselves dry to become an A-list villain. Spider-Man throws his hands up. This is garbage. There's no way the government would create their own supervillains. Scorpion tells him, "That's where you're wrong. It isn't the government. It's the companies who put the governments in office, and neutralizing the capes was a genuine business concern." Spider-Man asks, "What does any of this have to do with Norman?" Scorpion tells him, "Really? He's a billionaire, a biochemist, all of those big military contracts. Norman Osborn was their favorite supervillain contractor until he went a little nuts with the Green Goblin thing. Bush and Clinton found out about this, and they closed down any supervillain programs that they heard of. But there were some very famous names in the original Cabal. That's why they want to kill Norman. He knows where all the bodies are buried. And Norman locked up in jail is the very definition of a loose cannon. As long as he's in his cell, he's a sitting duck for any would-be assassin." Spider-Man then says, "If I was going to believe that any of this was true, why has Norman been locked up for over 3 months and no attempts on his life been made?" Scorpion tells him, "Because Norman has plans on top of plans. Anything happens to him, emails and parcels will start reaching out to media outlets. Why do you think Oscorp has had so many break-ins lately? These guys can't pull the trigger until they cover their faces. Hell, ever wonder what happened to Doc Ock? He's been brainwashed to kill Norman. His next scheduled attempt is this weekend. That's why we need your help. Norman Osborn wants Spider-Man to break him out of prison tomorrow at midnight. Spider-Man tells him, no way, forget it. The Scorpion tells him, oh, so Aunt May's gonna die then, simple as that. Sure, you're breaking the Green Goblin out, and there's always a possibility that he's going to kill someone, but refuse when there's a guarantee that May Parker's going to die. Spider-Man slams his hand on the table asking, why are you doing this? Why go to all this trouble? Because you raised the ante by putting Norman behind bars. You only got yourself to blame for this, kid. Now, if you excuse me, there's a new Scorpion suit waiting to be picked up that Norman arranged for me. Spider-Man tells him, I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm not going to break Norman out of prison. Scorpion walks off. Sure you are, because you've already buried enough friends over the years, right? Later that night, Scorpion heads back to his apartment to try on his new suit, but just before he does, a voice tells him that new suit is to die for. Scorpion asks who there, and the voice tells him, your new best friend. Will your ticket out of the gutter? Scorpion tells him, yeah, not interested, already have enough friends. Venom looms out of the shadows, telling him, sure, but you've never had a friend like me. Meanwhile, over at Spider-Man's apartment, Mary Jane throws up in the sink, shouting that he can't be serious. He's going to break somebody like that out of prison, and that somebody is Green Goblin? Spider-Man tells him what Scorpion said. There's always a risk of Norman hurting someone, but if I do nothing, Aunt May will die. Mary Jane begins to cry, stating, Norman is using you. He's pulling strings and making you dance like an idiot. Don't do this. Pete, Norman's too smart. Spider-Man hugs her, telling her, things are different now. Dr. Octopus is brainwashed to kill him, and he's vulnerable for the first time in his life. Norman promised that he'd behave. I have reason to believe that Norman is too scared to be lying this time. Besides, there's no other way to save Aunt May. As Spider-Man and Black Cat leave, Mary Jane watches in the windows and reaches into her robe, pulling out a gun. She sits down. Please, God, let me be wrong about all of this. Later at Rikers Island, Black Cat and Spider-Man sneak in with Spider-Man asking, how's it going over there? Black Cat holds up a flashlight in her mouth, stating that they're all set. Security cameras
are now going off because, guys, I have finished and completed this picture. I've lost my little thing, so I can do it up a bit taller so I give you a full view of what I've done here. There we go. Right, yeah, so this picture is complete, finished, and done. My own amazing fantasy spider-blut. We've got, like I was saying, we've got me in as my Spider-Man in my onesie that you would have seen me in my streaming last night and most streams when I'm playing Spider-Man because I just think it's funny to wear it. And I just like to be warm in the evening, really. So yeah, I've got my spider-blut. There's me with my beard and all that hanging out. I'm wearing a hood, not the mask, because it has a hood, not the mask. And then we've got my son, who I'm sort of catching in mid-air because he's jumped out the window, not realizing that the VR that he's playing isn't actually out the window. So yeah, all done. We've got him saying best VR ever, and we're swinging, but not from a web. We're swinging from the wire that is on the VR pack there. And I've got the camera, my live stream camera with my sketchbook and controller and comb up top here. Let's give you a zoom in so you can see everything better. But hopefully you have enjoyed today's stream, guys. I've took a little bit of shading here with different colors that you've seen me do. If you need any more information, guys, definitely rewind and check it out. Otherwise, hopefully you have enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed doing it for you guys. And I will see you in the next video, which hopefully will be in VR, because that's it's either going to be me swinging around in VR, which probably will be tomorrow, because I'm about to play some more Minecraft. Join me over there, or join me over on Mixer, or you can join me, or join it live, or I should say not live. You can join over on Mixer.com, or if you can't join me over there, you can watch afterwards, because I will upload as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Click the links that will appear. Bye.